Perfect.
Quake Matthews in the motherfucking building.
Yes, sir.
People in the place, shit was packed out. Then I first seen your face through the crowd, and your smile made me feel a type of way. I was feeling real.
Yes, sir.
Yo, okay, before we start this, I want to get a quick drop because I've been forgetting to get drops from my guest. So, Quake Matthews, you know, whatever your squad is, and We Love Hip Hop, or you're tuned into We Love Hip Hop, whenever you're ready.
Cool. What's going on? This is Quake Matthews, all the way from Nova Scotia, and you're tuned into We Love Hip Hop. Keep it locked.
Hey, dope. I'm gonna save that as a video and an audio. So we got Quake Matthews in the building right now, on isolation all the way from Halifax. How's it going, man?
Man, it's going good, man. You know, just obviously not an ideal time for an artist right now as far as like touring, doing shows. So you just got to find other ways to be creative, which is what I've been kind of doing, man. Like switching the hustle up and just taking my time to work on this album. And I've been doing some interviews myself with other artists. I started up a show called The Tap In on
I seen
IG
that.
Live.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, just trying to stay busy, man. You know, make use of my time. Not treat this like a vacation. You know, it's easy to do that. You know.
Yeah. Facts. What's going on over there in Halifax? Because I know here in Toronto, we're dealing with like super high numbers as far as people getting infected. You know, old folks' homes are like getting people dying in like droves right now over here. What about over there? Like, how's the pandemic hitting Halifax on the East Coast? I
believe we have around 320 cases now, and we just had our first person die last night. Damn. And we just had our first old folks home cases. I think 2 workers in an old folks home. So now it's going from, what you're seeing is it's going from being travel related and people who have been in contact with people that travel, but now it's just starting to be communal, which is kind of scary. So now I feel like it's about to be crazy, you know?
What about, because we're all over here, we're trying to practice physical distancing, but then there's people out here who are just not getting the message, and they're still seeing people in parks and stuff like that. But for you guys who the pandemic hasn't hit as hard yet, and hopefully not gonna hit as hard as we got hit, is everybody still hanging out and just doing whatever, hanging out in the parks, chilling?
Some people are, but the premier got super mad. Like, he went on the news and snapped. And now he basically closed all the parks, everything like that. And now he's actually hitting people with fines. I believe the fine starts at like $700 and it can go up to $7,000 depending on how bad you're breaking the rules. So they're starting to enforce it now. Like, now it's pretty serious.
Okay. So, away from all of this corona and all that stuff, right? Because right now that's the only thing that's really like the only headline that's touching the news. Let's get into with Quake Matthews. Okay, your name used to be Quake before.
My choice didn't want to fuck up my life. My head's crooked. The bottle is open. It's like a bottomless ocean mixed with a jungle. Cause the chronic of smoking is.
My rapper brain is telling me that before that it used to be Earthquake. Am I right?
No, never Earthquake. never Earthquake. That would have been so corny, man.
So, what was the first rapper name, or was Quake the first rapper name?
My first real rapper name was Quake. I think I might have, in like junior high, I might have had like this sweater that said something, it might have said Funk or something on the back. So maybe for like 2 weeks, I might have been Lil Funk, but like, I don't think I told anyone that. I don't think I told anyone that shit. Like, when people started knowing me in the city and everything like that, like, it was always Quake. Yeah. And then for reasons like internet search reasons, like if you search Quake on the internet, you might get the video game, you might get earthquakes that have hit around the world. So I was like, I need to diversify. When the internet started, becoming big, I was like, I need people to search up my name and get only me. So that's when I kind of added the Matthews to it.
So coming out of Halifax, and I've been watching your music for a while, even while I was still making music, right?
Water your airport, but shit is all worth it when I think what I'm here for. I see a bigger purpose when I look in the mirror, boy. Look beyond the surface and we.
And this is like 3 years ago. I retired, so way before that, I've been checking your stuff out, and you've been doing you've been doing big things for somebody coming from the East Coast, because with Canada, everybody's so focused on Toronto and what we're doing over here. Like, I feel like sometimes the other coast, like the West Coast and the East Coast, get neglected a little bit. So how were you able to like gain so much, traction and stuff like that coming out of the East Coast?
I think just persistence, man. Like, I've been at this so long. Like, I'm 31 now. I started really when I was like 15 years old, man. So just like being persistent and seeking out as many opportunities as I can. Like, I've spent mad time in Toronto, Atlanta, New York. Like, I travel a lot. I'm always trying to go get it, and seek out opportunities that aren't always available here at home. And also, I think that, the East Coast, not so much the East Coast, but we have people like Classified who have made it.
Big up Classified.
Big Jordan. We have some pop acts, Rhea May, people like that. But I think the West Coast, as far as hip hop, they really embrace the independent grind. Like, maybe they're not always involved in the industry, or they might not be Juno Award nominated, but you see guys like Mercules and Snack the Ripper and people who just really embrace the independent grind and did it themselves. So I think that's kind of like the same mentality as people have here. It's like, we know we're not going to really get thrown any looks, you know what I mean? If we do, cool. But I think that the mentality is we have to do it ourselves from here. And I think it just builds a work ethic and it builds a character,
Yeah. So, like, with the We Love Hip Hop podcast, we have so many rappers that we interview out of Toronto just because our location is here, right? So we don't get to get a scene or like get a visual of what's going on in the other spots as much. So like, what's the scene like over there? Like, what part of Halifax are you in?
I'm from a place called Fairview. It's probably like 15 minutes from downtown. It's like, lower middle class. Like, I'm not going to say it's like super hood or anything, but it's just like a lower middle class average area. But Halifax is super, super tight knit, man. And we've always had, like, if you research the history, we've always had a crazy hip hop culture. And I don't know if that stems from us just having like such a large Black community and hip hop being Black music. And like a lot of, we're a port city. So it's like we had, there's a lot of history where it's like the Underground Railroad stopped in Nova Scotia. I'm Arabic. My grandparents and shit came through like a Pier 21. That's like, so a lot of like immigrants came through here. So we have a lot of culture, which I think is part of the reason why music is so prevalent. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people do shit, a lot of talent, and a lot of times, man, it's sad because some of the most talented people in the world, they never get to see out their full potential because real life hits, and they got to start taking care of their families, and they're done chasing the dream. I've seen so many people that are super dope never really get that shot. But I think that our city is growing, man, and I think you're gonna see a lot of shit in the next like 10 years. Like, they're putting up buildings everywhere. Like, the population's growing. People are starting to pay attention. I feel like it kind of feels like how Toronto was pre-Drake era when there was a couple, you know what I mean? But now it's like everybody knows. I feel like we're just a little late behind on that, but it's going to be in the light soon. Yeah,
so I feel like even though you're only 31 is a young age still, right? In the hip-hop age, you're, I guess, for lack of a better term, one of the vets, one of the elder statesmen out there, right? So who are the young up-and-coming guys who are coming up out of Halifax? Because I know, like, you mentioned Classified. I think Pat Stay's from over there too, no?
Yeah, he is,
Right? And there was a song that everybody was on that Classified had dropped not too long ago called Super MC.
Yeah, Super Nova Scotia,
Super Nova Scotian.
Nova Scotian, shameless the way I'm so frank with the self-promotion. Coasting down the script like a motorboat.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but I didn't see any of the young cats. Who are some of the young cats who are coming up like 20 years old, 21?
The Super Nova Scotian was basically like people who were already known, you know what I mean? Like people who have done something. Some of the young cats, there's a kid I really like named Kai Clayton. He's from Uniac Square. I think he's like 17, 18. He kind of has like, he reminds me of like maybe like a kind of a J. Cole type of vibe, but he's super dope.
Okay.
there's another kid. He was in my video So Damn Late. He actually plays me, so he raps all the lyrics as me in high school. And his name is Kid Savy. He's dope. There's a lot, man. There's this Lebanese kid, Shani. He's dope. I'm not as tapped in as I would like to be, but I'm starting to pick up on a few kids that are doing the thing that are super dope.
Well, you just mentioned like 4 names, so you seem pretty tapped in anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you mentioned you said you were Lebanese, or your parents came from.
Yeah. My dad's Lebanese. My mom's Italian.
Okay, so as a hip hop artist, right? Did you discover hip hop like from pretty young, like as a teenager type of thing?
No, way younger. I discovered hip hop maybe like 5 years old, because the reason. So I was born in 88. So I remember Doggy Style by Snoop Dogg coming out. That was like my first shit. I was like 5 years old. And because I like a babysitter that lives 2 doors down, she had 2 older sons. One was like 7 years older, one was like 10 years older. So like I would try to dress like them and be like them, and they had like all these tapes in their room. So when they would leave, like I would sneak into the room and listen to this music. And I remember like Snoop Dogg Doggy Style being like my first taste in hip hop, and me being like, what the fuck is this? Like I love this shit. Like I remember drawing the paw print that's on the inside cover, like on my notebooks and shit. Like, bro, so I got an early exposure to it, which I think helped me,
So the reason I asked that is because with having that background, right, Lebanese, and maybe not the Italian part as much, but was there like, yo, what are you listening to? Don't be listening to that stuff. Did you get that?
No, man. My dad, I don't like to put people in a box, but I know what you mean. Like when there's like a typical strict Lebanese father or something, like my dad was
like,
cool
what is this
shit.
Infidel music that you're listening to?
No, like my dad, you could pretty much say is just like, and he's not like an immigrant person. He was like born here. Okay. So it's like my dad was pretty much like Canadian. Like he barely spoke Lebanese. He's not like the rest of his brothers and sisters. He's cool. He drank. He smoked dope. He liked to have a good time. Yeah. So it was never any backlash for me. Like, what is this music? Like maybe a few times when it was like, man, you got to turn this shit down. Like these lyrics, like there's kids around. Like we used to have the stereo outside in the backyard and shit. And like neighbors used to get mad and shit. So sometimes maybe it would be like, turn it down. But like, it was never like, what is this crazy music? It was always supportive and shit. Yeah.
How did you get on that Sways in the mornings bedroom bars?
Like a folder that is like kind of like my law of attraction manifestation folder. And bro, I got a picture of me photoshopped on the 5 fingers of death. That, what I mean? That's something I look at that I manifest. So bro, I would love to do that. So basically I was just tuning in, and basically my boy Mercules from Vancouver, he was tapped in, and then he did his shit. And then he's like, Sway, my boy is in here, Quake Matthews, like let him in. And then the show expired, so I didn't really get in. So Sway's like, I'll get you in next time. So I went the next day, and midway through he tapped me in, man. And the rest was history.
You next, bro. Next time that when we're all over this whole thing and we're able to go back outside, and you're able to go down to New York and go down to the Sirius Radio spot, I want to see you kill that 5 fingers of death, bro.
Oh man, that's a dream come true. I don't know if you saw it, but that's something I always visualized, was me being on the 5 fingers of death, watching other people do it. Some people trip up, and I always said to myself, like, if I ever get this chance, man, it's fucking on. So to even be invited by Sway, man, that shit was a dream come true, man. A lot of shit in this time, man, has been good for me. Like I feel like I might look back on this coronavirus and be like, some of this shit might have been the turning point of my career. Like I was on Bootleg Kev. I did the same thing. I was on Charlie Sloth. Still dressed fresher than breast milk, boy.
Chase, come on. Quake Matthews in the building.
Yeah.
from the UK.
You
like,
murked the Charlie
bro,
Sloth. He was like, "Oh my God, you had bars just ready for me like that." Like, yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, man. Yeah, being ready and just and not turning down any opportunity, man. I think it's a good time, and there's good ways to make positive out of this negative situation.
Yeah. Okay, so even with that, do you just have bars on deck?
Well, I had this beat, the same beat. I had that beat on my desktop from when I did Sway. It was the same verse, right? So when Charlie Sloth requested me, I was gonna decline it at first because I was upstairs. I was just watching. Like I like UK rap. I was just watching.
Yeah.
And then he started requesting me, and I'm like, man, I'm not ready for this. I was gonna decline it, but then something said, man, you can't turn down this.
That's Charlie Sloth.
So I ran down the steps, bro. Kicked the door open, like tried to sign on my computer, like my hand is like kind of shaking because I'm live. I got nothing.
Yeah.
And then like I get my password wrong. I finally get it right. So I go to the first beat I see on my desktop. It was the A Boogie shit. And then I knew the verse started right off because I was practicing for the Sway.
Yeah.
So I just knew what to do, and I just clicked in, and it turned out good, you know?
Just fucking gave him the bars. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
You're a rapper's rapper, you know what I'm saying? And so
a lot of people say that.
Yeah, well, you got a track with Royce 5'9", bro.
All I do is do me, better than I've ever done me. This is the new me. We the truth, so you can either be a fool or choose me. I'ma keep it.
Yeah.
That's a big fucking deal.
On the debut album, actually, that was 10 years ago, man. I remember hitting him up on MySpace. I used to have like a little finesse. It wasn't a finesse, but it was more like a pity thing. It was like I would hit rappers up and be like, bro, like, which it was true. I was like, bro, I saved up for this. Like, I think I saved up $800. I was like, I know you probably charge more, but I got $800. I saved up. And if you could do it, that would be amazing. And he's like, man, you saved up? That's gangster. Like, cool, I got you. Yeah.
Was that him on the hook?
What's that?
Was that Royce 5'9" singing the hook?
No, that was a KO.
That's KO singing.
KO is a KO, yeah.
Okay.
I met him down here. My dad works at St. Mary's University. He's a painter there, like paints the walls and shit. And KO was going there, and there was this like open mic thing that they used to do every Wednesday. And my dad told me about it. He's like, you should check this shit out. Like they're putting people on.
Yeah.
So I went down, and KO is from St. Lucia, and that's where I met him because there was never any other rappers. It was always like some guitar shit.
Yeah.
And then one night there was like another rapper, and it was KO. And then we just clicked from there. We ended up doing 3 joints on my first album, and we got like 2 joint projects together over the years as well.
Dope. So like, what's your writing process? Because as a rapper's rapper, it's not like you're just like putting words together like hat and hat, and like you're putting thought into this stuff. So are you listening to beats and then you're writing rhymes, or are you just writing rhymes every time you get inspiration?
Yeah, I'm listening to, usually I write my rhymes to a beat. I don't think I've ever written the rhyme not to a beat unless it was, I did a KOTD battle.
Coming from the summit back to stomping on this Urkel for thinking he's cool, but he's not Stefan.
I think I wrote, yeah, there you go. I think I wrote that without the beat. But as far as like any music or anything, like I always like to get inspired by a beat. And I always like to take my time. I'm not one of the people that goes in there and freestyles and like keeps certain lines.
Yeah.
Like I really like to think my shit out, and I think that is an advantage in some ways, but it also can hurt you in other ways. You know what I mean? So to each their own, but that's just my process. I really like to think shit out.
Yeah. So even with now, actually, before we get to now with the music scene, because I have a, today's music scene type of question for you. But before that, you mentioned KOTD. So you've done battles.
Mm-hmm.
How's that process?
Well, the way I used to do battles is different than the whole KOTD format. Like the way people knew me from the city was there used to be battles downtown, and it would be in a club, and it would be like 8 people, and you don't know who you're battling, and it's like they put a beat on, you got a microphone, and it's freestyle battle, and the last man standing wins. So my first time doing that, I beat Little's the General, rest in peace. I beat him at like 15 years old in a club format. And like, so that I was really good at freestyling off the top. Like that was my strength.
Yeah.
And then when the KOTD format came, it was a whole different ball game. You
The
know,
acapella and preparation ahead of time.
I thought I could transition. I did get this award. It was like most impressive debut from KOTD.
Bomb.
But I wasn't able to transition as seamlessly as I thought I would be. And I really just started focusing on music after that. Because it's a whole other sport, I believe, you know? And Pat was already killing it from here, representing. So I was like, all right, that's his shit. Like, I'm going to just try to do the music. And basically that's what I try to do.
Yeah. So now to the question with the way that things are going now. First of all, like, people's output of music is way faster than it used to be. Before, you used to be able to make an album a year. People were good with that amount of content, and then you just move on to working, you know, doing your touring and then working on the next album. But now it's like you put out an album 1 month, and then at the end of the month they're like, so when's your new shit dropping, right? How have you adjusted to that type of like output?
I think the way I was doing that was like remixes.
Gary V said I'm still early, that lens is still blurry, and 30 just smacked me in the head, all I know.
Like just remixing other people's joints and throwing them out, shooting little videos and throwing them out. As far as albums, I'm always gonna want to take my time. I'm just that type of artist. And I think if you look at certain artists like a Kendrick or a J. Cole or a Big Sean or anyone who has shit that you actually think about, they're not putting albums out every 3 months. Like they're still doing every once a year, 2 years. And then they might just do features, some shit to keep themselves relevant. So I think you can still take your time on the album, but as long as you have some shit that is maybe keeping you relevant, like me starting my interviews or me doing remixes of other people's songs, or me doing, you know, whatever, radio freestyle or whatever it is, you know?
And even with like everything, like the sound, right? Everybody's like using auto-tune and a lot of music is like sounding the same. How do you not succumb to that?
I mean, I played with it. I got a song called Way Up.
In the mirror when I talk to myself, I'm way up. Nobody can blow my high. Sipping white wine on a westbound floor.
With Snack the Ripper, where I sang the hook, and like, it's not heavily auto-tuned, but there's definitely processing on the vocal. And I don't know, I just kind of do what I feel, man, whatever it calls for. I wasn't really singing, or I wasn't really trying to do the whole auto-tune wave until I spent a lot of time in Atlanta. And I was just kind of inspired by the surroundings, and I started understanding the music more being in that environment, you know? At first, I might have been like one of those hip-hop heads who's like, fuck this mumble rap and all this, but it's like, bro, I think people hate what they don't understand. So it's like, if you just try to understand it a little more and stop hating and stop trying to box everybody in, then I think you're free to do whatever you want. It's music at the end of the day. It's expression. There's no rules, you know?
True that. I've asked this to a lot of my guests over the years. How do you, as a rapper, like, you know, with this being a art form that was originated by Black people, right? Do you deal with white rapper backlash? Like pushback?
To be honest, I never have, bro. The only time I ever have was that battle I spoke about when I was 15. When I first walked in there, everyone laughed at me, bro. Everyone laughed at me. I remember. And when I won, no one in the city ever laughed at me again from that point on. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, it's much easier now in a post Eminem, post classified. Like, bro, it's 2020. I can see how some of these older guys might have had that stigma, but like, you know, I think now the world is a pretty accepting place. There's so many people who have done it now, you know?
No, hip hop is way more universal now, and people don't even look at white, Black, Indian, or whatever. But like, I know for you, coming up in a time when like Eminem, before like the 8 Mile movie became really popular, because a lot of people got to see an example of that through the 8 Mile movie, because M was going through that in the movie. You know what I mean?
I was rapping before that movie too.
I know.
So it's like,
So it's like, you know, when people, I think a lot of people didn't get to see the struggles that, like, you know, non-black people go through, because it's like we're always like, okay, so what you got? And then you have to be barred up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. I feel like a hypocrite sometimes because, like, sometimes I'm not, like, a fan of your typical white rappers. Like, all my favorite rappers, none of them are white except maybe, like, Eminem from back in the day. But it's like, I don't know. It's a tough line. That makes me seem like a hypocrite. But at the end of the day, I want a certain edge and I want certain bars and shit that I can relate to from an area where I'm from.
Yeah.
And some of the other people don't give me that feeling. So I don't know. I think it all depends. Like, there's nice people from everywhere, man. And I think it just depends on the vibe nowadays. And if you're actually nice, you know, and if you got the shit that certain people want to hear. And everyone has a different taste, so you can't please everybody, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Actually, one more of these crazy questions, because while we were still in the studio at the Amsterdam, we were doing a new segment called Rapid Fire, where I was shooting like 5 rapid fire questions and just getting back some quick answers. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's do that quick fast.
Cool.
If you had a chance to choose from any of the independent labels, right? Like, let's say Cash Money, the one that Kendrick and all of those guys are on, Top Dog, TDE, right? Or Quality Control. Which one would you pick?
I mean, I think that depends on the structure of the deal, but I'm an independent guy, man. So I don't think I'd want a major label deal in 2020. I would only want like a partnership, something I own 50-50. I don't know if I'd want a major label deal, but just for the fuck of it, I feel like I might fit more in with TDE.
Okay,
you know?
Okay, I'm digging it. I'm digging it. If you had a chat, if you only had one to pick from, Drake or Tory Lanez, which one would you pick?
Drake, 1000%. I have history with Drake. I don't know if you remember Team Offence.
I do.
In the Wise Guys.
Or ain't it? My spaceship was invaded by an alien face with the alias Drake, but I stay with a steak, not the one that ate off your plate. The harpoon I'm about to place in your heart soon.
This is me, bro. I remember everything.
I don't know if you remember. I was actually in the Offence. So like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like, I remember that battle, and that shit is just a super important moment in my career because like that was when everyone in Canada kind of knew who I was, like us coming at them and Littles kind of throwing me in that fight, and I was loving it. But I've seen Drake plenty of times since then, and we always have laughs, and we always, anytime I see him, it's always respect. Like he shouted me out at one of the KOTD things on the press conference and shit, and yeah, man, I just think because I'm a part of that, and just Drake as an artist, I think he's in one of my top 5, man. So that would be one of my dream collabos. For sure, because of the history and just his style as an artist. I think he's one of the best writers, you know, period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ass or tits man?
Say it again?
Ass or tits man?
Oh, ass. I gotta go ass.
Ass. Okay, last question. Corona or the claps?
Oh, shit. Damn. You know, this might sound dirty, but the clap can't really kill you, and you can get rid of that shit with 4 pills. So it's like you're not really risking death. Like you might not be able to like fuck for like 2 weeks or something. Yeah. But I think that's way easier than maybe like dying or passing it on to like a family member, like your grandmother or something who could die. You know, like I'll take celibacy for 2 weeks while that shit clears up. Yeah. That's cool. No.
Couple horse pills, you're back in the game, coach.
Exactly.
Yo, dog, I really, really, really appreciate this, man. What do you got coming up next, man?
I'm currently working on a sequel of my debut album. My debut album was 10 years ago. The one you spoke about that had Royce on there.
Yes.
It was called The Myth. So now I'm in iPhone fashion. I'm giving them the Myth X, the 10-year shit right now. So I'm just working on that, man. And I plan to continue my interview series, man. The Tap In. I'm really into the craft of interviewing. I've been studying it, and it's kind of a whole new thing for me, man. It started with this podcast I'm on with Pat Stay. It's called Stay Tuned. Check that out, everybody. But just being on there kind of opened up my eyes to the whole interview craft, and I feel like it's like I did when I discovered music. Like I'm just hungry to learn this skill, man. And so that's definitely something I'm going to keep going, as well as the music, man.
Yo, listen, you're speaking to the choir when it comes to that. The retired rapper who's here interviewing you right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, I think Joe Budden is showing us all the way right now, man.
Yeah. Listen, I started my podcast literally a year after him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm a podcast listener, right? I consume podcasts on a regular basis, listening to them, not even watching the videos of them. So that definitely was part of my inspiration. Them, Juan Ep, a whole bunch of other podcasts. So keep doing what you're doing over there. You know what I'm saying? Because we definitely need to have a representative for the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? Giving a voice to the people over there on your side, so that we can get tapped in, like your podcast, right? To what's going on over there, you know what I'm saying? And we'll hold it down over here in the T-Dot, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I agree, man, because there's not really any voice doing that around here. So I think you're right. That's a crucial thing. We need somebody to showcase to the rest of Canada, because like you said, sometimes we do get forgotten, you know?
Yeah. And this is why I feel this is necessary that we're having this conversation even right now, because we interview so many artists out of Toronto, but we rarely get to talk to like people out of Montreal, out of Vancouver, out of the, you know, the flatlands, and over there where you are in the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? So I really, really appreciate this. Give the people your social medias and let the people know where to find your music and all of your content.
It's just at Quake Matthews, QUAKE everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that shit. And my music, I got 6 albums on every streaming platform. The 7th one is coming this summer. If the Rona doesn't mess that up, it'll be there. And yeah, man, you can find me everywhere, man. And whether you like my interviews or whether you like the podcast and not the music, or vice versa, or both, I'm cool with it, man. Tap in and choose whatever content suits you, and hopefully you fuck with something I do, you know?
Dope. Last thing, the check mark. You got an Instagram check mark, all right?
Yes,
sir. I'm a little bit jealous because I'm waiting for mine. You know what I'm saying? When did that happen?
So I won this thing. I don't know if you're aware of this program. Havaya won it last year, but it's called the Juno Masterclass.
Called that one, yes.
Yeah. So I was one of 3 selected. It was like 2 years ago. And basically that's like a 2-week program, or it might be a week program, where they put you through like a boot camp. Like they teach you all about the industry. Like they're trying to get you ready. So they give you meetings. So we have meetings with everybody. And during our meeting with Facebook, who owns Instagram,
yes,
I swear to God, I walked in the building of Facebook and got in the elevator. As soon as I got off the elevator, it was wild. I refreshed my shit. It had a blue check mark.
Wow.
So they knew that we were coming, and that was one of the perks to winning the Juno Masterclass. Everybody got verified.
Nice.
You know, when they went for that meeting.
Nice. Dope. Well, enough respect, you know what I'm saying, for taking the time to do this with me today. You know what I'm saying? We're going to try to get this out as soon as possible, the audio as well as the video. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I've been stacking up a lot of interviews, so it might be on a 2-week backlog as far as the video, but we're going to be getting this out to the people ASAP. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, let me know, man. I'll share it on all my shit, and for sure, I appreciate it, man.
Dope. Enough respect. Quake Matthew in the motherfucking building. Peace.
Yes, sir. Take care, bro.
You too, brother. Peace.
All right.